that I'm getting rid of the Corsair 800D, mainly because I'm looking for something a little smaller, a little bit more quiet. So what I'm actually going to do is just film the actual taking apart, and might do a build in the other system and actually do a video of that, but this is just going to be, it's probably pretty lengthy, but I'm going to get in and start taking all my components out. I've had this case for a couple years now. I would like to say that I've actually had it for a decent amount of time, and I am extremely happy with it. But the size is something that I wanted to get away from. And it's a little bit noisy between that and my server, which you can see there. It does produce a little bit of noise that I just would like to get rid of. So we're going to be disassembling this, hopefully in a timely fashion. And first thing we're going to move here, I did unplug everything. Everything's unplugged. That's the first thing you want to do, is make sure everything's unplugged. I don't really have an issue with static pressure here in my house. So I'm not extremely worried about that at this point. But the second I say that, watch, something will happen. And we'll just get the graphics card over there. And as you can see, this isn't my traditional graphics card. I usually had the 7970 Lightning Edition. I actually sold that, actually for about the same price I paid for it, which is really odd. But I'll let you know what I got next. That's going to be an upcoming video, what I actually upgraded to. And so we'll get that undone here. What I like to do is just to kind of connect, while it's standing up like this, I like to disconnect all the actual motherboard mount. Because when it's laying down, I tend to not do it. I know that might sound a little weird, but no idea how long this video will be. Not even close to how long this video will be, but I don't see a lot of videos like this. This is just like unboxing, not really unboxing, but just uninstalling 101. So what I actually have here is my memory. I'm going to take that out. Oh, maybe, oh yeah, there's only one. I forgot about that. That one out of there. Take this one out. I'm going to be pretty careful with this memory because this was not cheap memory when it came out. We got the Corsair Dominator. It's a really cool memory. If you haven't seen my unboxing, definitely check it out. But these lights, it actually has lights on it that light up, and you can customize them and change the color on them. And perfect spot for those are going to be in my computer chair. And then we got all those connected. All right, all that's done. I am going to need this. I'm going to keep this. It's a little connector to your front panel connectors. That makes it extremely easy to put that in and install. And so now let's actually get the motherboard out. Well, actually, let's remove all these SATA connectors here. Again, my motherboard's a Sabertooth. This is the X79. And, well, before I do that, let's actually remove this water block and get this heater off, this cooler off there. This is a Corsair H100 cooler that I've been using for a long time. Ever since I started with a 2500K was my actual first processor. Actually, I take that back. I did have an old i3 that was actually, or my first desktop. I used to be an all laptop guy until I really got into gaming and videos and video editing, and laptops just don't produce the results that you actually want. But my first CPU was actually an i3 that was actually in my server. Over here, it's a 20, what is it? 23, oops. Let's grab that. Forget what it is off the top of my head. And I'm really bad at not putting screws where they should be and losing them. So I'm trying to have different pockets for different screws. So we're going to put all fan screws, anything for the Corsair H100 in my back right pocket. If I forget that, you guys let me know. Okay. And this may have been a dumb idea. There we go. Move that back there. Now I can remove the motherboard. Now that I got that out of the way. If you see my socket down here, which you can't, see when I get out. I am running the 3970K. 3930K, I don't know where the 70 came from, but I'm running the 3930K, which is Intel 2011 socket. It allows a lot more future-proof than the Intel 1155 sockets. Shoot. And you want to be careful, which I'm trying to be, but failing at it looks like. I'm going to put the motherboard screws in my left pocket. I've been up for a while. I will mention that. I started my early shifts at work, so I've been up, getting up around 3:30. So I'm going on a little bit of lack of sleep, along with a little bit of hungry. I am hungry. But problem is when I'm tired and I eat, that tends to result in sleep. So I'm trying to avoid that. Just grabbed a quick snack before I was going to do this. Shouldn't take long. I've done numerous builds before in the past, so it shouldn't be a process that actually takes any amount of time. Hoping to get everything done in an hour. I don't believe I'm gonna. I do have a copy of Windows 7 Professional, which I do plan on upgrading to, but I might not do it right now, mainly because I want to just get everything moved over, and I have a ton of videos that I need to edit, so I do want to get those up and going. All right, I believe I got everything off this motherboard. Really hoping. And there we go. Looks like the I/O shield came with me. And oh yeah, I forgot about those. There we go. All right, so there's the motherboard out. As you can see here, there is a decent amount of dust here on the little fan. I will clean that off here in a second. And I'm going to set it on the motherboard box. Alright, so we got that out of there. What do we want to take out next? I'm not going to worry about the power supply right now. Well, actually, yeah, might as well take that out. Let's take everything out. But I think that's it. Then I'm going to take out that way. I can just kind of let that go a little bit. And let's hold this back up. And I'm going to remove this top radiator, which has a decent amount of screws up here at the top. Can you guys still see that? Let's see. Yep, you guys still good. Again, I've been running the Corsair H100. It's an excellent radiator, one of the best radiators out there, if you're asking me. And the fans I'm using, or they're Noctua fans. Not 100% sure of the model number this time, but I'm running Noctua fans. Very, very good fans. I'm really happy with them. They're really quiet. That's what I like. You can undervolt them a decent amount, so they run a little bit cooler. And hydration, gotta stay hydrated. What do we should take out now? Let's take out the power supply. Go ahead and get that out of there. I've been running these little LED lights, these blue ones. I'll probably keep those. I've had them for a long time, and I actually haven't had any issues with them at all. And you guys are going to see my pathetic attempt, or at least what I would consider pathetic, at cable management. And that is it. Stuff is everywhere. Everywhere. Let's see. Some of these wires I don't really need to cut. Here's my OS drive. This is the Intel 330 series. 180 gigabytes. I've had this for a very long time. Well, not a very long time, but where's my screwdriver? There it is. Had it for a decent amount of time, and I haven't had any issues out of it. Well, I'm back, but now I'm actually ready to install everything in my new case. A lot smaller. If you haven't seen the unboxing of it yet, definitely check that out. But this is the Fractal Design Define R4. And I'm going to actually be throwing everything in here. This is actually a lot cheaper case, and I was looking for something that was actually going to be smaller than what I previously had. So we're just going to remount the camera here and see if we can get a better view of the inside. First thing I like to do is install a power supply. And if I can find it here. I will get that installed. And I like to mount this with the actual, actually this might be better with it standing up. And I know, yeah, I'm not going to feed those through yet. Do like to mount it with the air retrieving, or the fan retrieving air there from the bottom. And where's the accessory kit, which has all my screws that I'm going to need. This is a fully modular power supply. And I believe there's should be 4 in here somewhere. There was 4 screws that would by themselves. There we are. Which I'm going to use. I did get screws with the power supply, but I'm not 100% sure if they were black. I'm just going to use these. There we go. Line everything up. And is that lined up? Okay, there we go. I was like, where's the screw at? There we go. Got it right there. Get each corner screwed down. Again, this is the Corsair H860i or H860, whatever you want to call it. This is their I-Series PSUs. It actually uses Corsair Link to better help control the actual what you're going to actually use inside your case. So what I like to do is I do like to connect the actual cables that I'm actually going to be using. And if I can find those, I will do that right now. I like to get that done out of the way before I throw the motherboard in. Once I get the motherboard in, sorry, I'm right next to the microphone, so that's probably going to be loud. Once I get the motherboard in, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to actually use these or not. Anyways, once I get the motherboard in, I try to be as careful as possible because that's where all the money's at, is in the motherboard and that chip. So what I have here is, what do we got here? PCI 6+2. What do we got here? Into there. That one connects into there. And this is actually going to be mounted right there. It's going to run up, so I'm going to run it down here through the bottom and just out the back. Now, since this is my own personal rig, I'm going to be able to see the inside of it. I'm going to pay really close attention to how I wire things because I like it to be as neat as possible. Here, 6+2 PCI and 4x4 CPU. So this is 4x4 CPU. Let's throw it in down there. Maybe. It's hard to see. Should have done this one first, but I didn't. It's done. And run that through here. And it's going to actually go up here. Right through up there. You're actually going to maybe be able to see it. And that's basically it for that. I'm not going to run the data ones yet. But I will probably run the PCI for the actual, there we go. This one says CPU also. So does this one, maybe, let's see. Yeah, maybe I got 2 of them for the CPU. That's what that other 5th one was for. Okay, now it makes more sense. I had 5 PCI cables and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I should only have either 4 or 6. Well, if you go back to the unboxing, leave a comment on how I didn't do things correctly. There we go. And I think I'm going to do this into probably just 1 and 2. I'll probably just connect it. Well, yeah. And feed that through right there. I'm only running 1 GPU. Oh, well that's cool. This could be actually used for, can this be used for both of them? Sorry guys, doing more things than I should. Reading things. Actually not doing things. I pre-warned you guys this video was going to be long. That's what you're getting. Very long video. There we go. And we'll route this down through here. I do like that everything's black. So I can really hide things back there the best I can. And that's basically all you're going to see. It's just these black cables run through there. Definitely thumbs up like that. So I got all that ran. Now what I'm actually going to do is throw in the motherboard. There's the screwdriver, which I'm going to need. Yeah, I know I'm sitting on the power cable, but that's not something I'm really worried about. You guys may not be able to see this because this is as high as this camera is actually going to go. That's alright. We do need the little shield cut out here. And let's orient it this way. Wonder how lighting's going to be in this. Looks alright. Besides that right there. Let's see if I can get rid of that a little bit. There we go. That helps some. And normally what I would do is actually, I would go ahead and actually install my backplate, but I'm running the Intel 2011 socket, so there is no backplate. But I do have to install standoffs. I forgot about that. And I got my standoffs right here. And it does have a labeling here, which hopefully I can get these right. I'm guessing A means ATX. Let's see. Oh, M's probably for micro. A is for ATX. Consult your manual before you're installing your motherboard. That way if someone's watching this video and they're like, oh, well, this is how you did it. Well, not everybody does things the same way. But I'm going by these A's because I'm pretty positive that's ATX. And then the M's is micro ATX because it stops a little bit shorter where the ATX actually goes all the way down to here. Like that. Hoping to get this done before I have to eat, because I'm really starting to get hungry. And it's not good if that happens. And you can tighten these down pretty well. Actually, pretty well. You can tighten these down as much as you want, because you do not want them coming loose. And you probably don't want to do what I do and go in a weird pattern. Just tighten them down as you see fit. Get back on there. I really am curious to see if you guys are going to like a video like this of just installing, you know, general upgrades in my system. Not that I ever do this very much, which I actually don't plan on doing very much, if at all, because this is the first time I've upgraded my system in well over a year. I did go from a different case. A while back I was running it was a Cooler Master. It was a half series, which is a very good case. Did have a side window, but it had a ton of fans and it was loud. And honestly, looks wise, I like more of a sleek look, and it didn't really have that. But it was actually purchased for me by somebody else. So how do you tell them you don't like the design they chose? You don't. And I lived with it for a little bit, and then I upgraded this case, mainly because it was on sale and I wanted the beefiest case possible. So what I do, I bought a case that's huge. And then all these silent-oriented, small form factor cases came out, and I fell in love with this one. The first, one of the first, I haven't seen a lot of unboxings of the ones with the window. I've seen a lot of unboxings, but not the ones with the window. So that's, there we go. Got that in. Now we can put the motherboard in. And let's not lose this. Let's put it back in its little bag. And make sure, yeah, these are the right mounts. That everything's lined up. And get this little fan cable out of the way, which is going to be difficult to do because it's kind of there. There we go. And get that to mount just like that. Line up the holes, which I have. There we go. Yep, they're all lined up. Perfect. Pick the right ones. And alright everyone, well I finally found out how I'm going to mount the system. Or the Corsair H100 in this case. I have to mount it through the front. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to install these in here. But the thing is that when I first did this, it's just going to be a little difficult to get the filter on. Mainly because these screws do stick out a little bit, that you can see there. But it will fit. I will say that, is that I was able to get it to fit. You just have to really mess around with it a little bit. Getting that first part started is the tricky part. Once you get it on, it will fit over the screws. It does bulge out a little bit, but I'm not really too worried about that. Like I said in my previous video, my place is pretty dust free. There's not a whole lot of dust Alright everyone, I had to actually stop recording for a few minutes. Mainly for the fact that it was a pain to get this cooler in here. I was able to fit the Corsair H100i actually in this spot right here. But the problem was is that I had to remove everything on here, and it was a pain to get it in there. And I actually don't even have screws in these bottom two mounts for the fan, but it should be okay because there's screws in there, but they're not connected to the front here, but it should be fine because I honestly have enough. I mean, there's so much. This thing's almost impossible to be able to fall out. It was a pain to get it in. And that being said, I'm ready to mount the CPU. It actually took me probably a half an hour to get the thing completely in there and totally connected, but I have it in. It's ready to go, and I am ready to mount the CPU. One thing I would like to note, they haven't changed the mounting mechanisms for these at all. I'm running an Intel 2011 socket, so I actually don't even need the back. It actually connects right here to the motherboard. And it does have different, let's just take a look at them right here. It does have different color screws. I kind of like the color. It's kind of a very, very dark gray. Almost a silver instead of the black. You can see the coloring here. It's a little bit different than what it was previously. Maybe if I can get it to focus. There we go. It's a little bit different coloring than what it used to be. So we're gonna go ahead and mount that. Like I said, man, it was a pain to get that thing in there. I'm just used to having a bigger case and just being able to throw stuff in there, and it did not work that way. Not even the slightest. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, it is magnetic. Remember from the unboxing, if you haven't watched unboxing, definitely go check it out. But it is magnetic, so it just mounts on there just like that. And then I'm going to mount it just like that. I'm trying to be as careful as possible to get it to put the RAM in, which hopefully it'll fit. Because I really don't want to get different RAM. I really like this RAM, so I'm actually just going to throw the RAM in right here. And make sure it's lined up. Is it? Yep. It is lined up here. Double check. Double check, triple check, quadruple check. And got that one installed. Now for this one, which just dims in this one's a little bit different. It's not really different, it's just oriented different. So we'll throw it in there and snap it down into place. RAM's installed. Got that going. Plenty of room here, so that's nice. I'm kind of going to position these tubes a little bit better. Again, these are twisted a little bit. Not really. They're really just crossing. It's not really going to be any issues to run across. Actually, let's see if I can do this. Give me 1 second here. Kind of make a little... There we go. Now you can see inside a little bit. But again, got it installed. Got the RAM installed. Everything's basically ready to go. I got my fan controller here, which I'll probably just use maybe for the two fans here at the top. Not for the front. I'm going to control that through the Corsair Link software. So I have my two fans here, and I do not connect them to there. I'm actually going to connect them somewhere on here. So I got my little software here for my Corsair Link. Might as well go ahead and get this situated. And here's the connectors for the fan for the Corsair H100i. See if I can get this to focus. There we go. There's the connectors here. Basically connect this into this little head up here, which I do have my flashlight. It's a little hard to see in here. It's getting to be nighttime, which makes it a little more difficult to see. The camera that I have is much better at picking up. And now for the front panel connectors. That's what these little, these come with most ASUS boards. So it's going to focus. There we go. These things come with most ASUS boards. solid state drives. Well, maybe only one hard drive, which I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. I actually think I could probably mount it up here if I really wanted. And so what I'm actually thinking of doing is these are actually going to go on the back. There is actually a mounts back here for them. So what I'm going to do is mount that there. Can I do that? Yeah. I can mount one there, I can mount one there. Well, I can't mount it down there, but I could originally. What I can do is mount that right there. Well, I finally finished moving everything from my Corsair 800D into my Fractal Design Define R4. As you know, I downsized and actually got a cheaper, more practical, smaller case. I do want to mention this is not the graphics card that I'm using. This is actually one I'm doing some tests on, comparing about the $150 7850 against the GTX 650, the super clocked version. Doing some tests on those, that's why that's in there. But I actually filmed most of the process in a blog format of how I would actually just go about, you know, just going along, uninstalling, taking everything out of my old case, and then put it in my new one. There's a few tweaks I did to some of the hardware, but most of it was actually a downgrade from what I was running before. I did upgrade my cooler, mainly because I had this one for a while, and as you can see, it's extremely dusty. Still a great cooler. It's Corsair H100. It's still an excellent cooler, still in perfect working condition. But I wanted to upgrade a little bit because I do have a 3930K processor, and I wanted to be able to get as much overclocking as I can out of that. So I wanted to get a little bit better cooler on there. But I have everything installed here. Like I said, some of the parts were cut out when I was actually installing this because it took me about a half an hour to be able to mount this H100 here in the front. I tried mounting it on the top here to do an exhaust with it, but it wouldn't fit. Mainly because you see this big, large heat spreader here. It just wouldn't fit actually over top of that. The fans were actually, I couldn't do a push-pull. I couldn't even do a push or a pull. So that was something that I had to kind of take into account. So I mounted it here in the front. It actually fit perfect, but it did take me about a half an hour to... I had to do a few adjustments. I had to take the whole entire front off, and I kind of had to wiggle it in there and just push as hard as I could until it snapped in place. It's not going anywhere, I will say that, but I am able to do a push-pull. I have 4 Noctua, what's the model number? I don't know what the model number is, but they're Noctua fans. And these do come with very nice fans for the Corsair Define, or the Fractal Design Define R4. They do come with really nice fans, but I actually had some Cougar fans laying around, so I put 240mm fans in there for an exhaust throughout the both top, and it does run really quiet. And the testing I've done so far is the graphics card staying much cooler. I mean, I'm talking about 8 degrees cooler just at idle, because the Corsair 800D's for water cooling. It's not really made because there's not even any front intakes to take any air in. So this is going to actually improve cooling extremely. It's just going to really be able to help me cool my new graphics card that I actually be putting in here. And it's not that one, but you'll see which one I'm going to throw in there here in a little bit. If you guys liked the video that I actually did, let me know. Definitely let me know if you didn't like it. I know it was long and scattered and unorganized, but I wanted it to be more of a blog format. I got off work, came home, and I had a goal of moving my stuff around, moving into my smaller, cheaper case. And so I just turned the video camera on and just went with it. I'm not going to edit a lot of it out. I'm going to leave a lot of it in there. And, you know, when I was messing around with this, I cut some of that out because I was getting real frustrated. And, yeah, you know, that extra half an hour of me just playing around, scratching my head, trying to figure out how to cram that in there isn't something that I knew you guys wanted to watch. Have everything moved, though. I'm really happy with this case. I will say that, just doing a build in the case, it was very, very easy to build in. Besides the front part, but this was like a cram job. It's not really, I don't really think this case is made for the Corsair H100, not along with the Intel 2011 socket, because it does have a larger heat sink up here and along here. Some of them have a little differently, but that's how it's laid out on this board. So it was a little difficult to actually get that in there, but besides that, it actually went really well, and I was really impressed with it. And we can go ahead and fire up. Maybe there we go. I still am gonna go with the blue LEDs for now. I'm not really sure if I'll switch colors or not, but once we can throw that on there, so you can at least see into it. Maybe. I'm not really familiar with this case still. Actually, I can take that LED strip off because I figured out I don't need it. This is a lot smaller. There we go. This is a lot smaller than my previous case. It's probably a third of the weight of it, maybe even less. But it is quiet. It is extremely quiet. My server over here actually is much louder. It's not necessarily louder, but the front fan in Silverstone TJ08-E is a little bit louder than the ones I have in here. And I have 6 fans in here, and I can barely hear it. It's really nice. I overall really like it. And I like the form factor of it a lot better. I just like the small factor of it a lot more than I did in the other one. And if you can see just right there how it's going to be positioned, it's actually going to look really nice, and I'm really looking forward to just being able to see what kind of numbers I get out of a graphics card in here. My 7970 that I had previously got pretty warm. I mean, it didn't get extremely warm, but I wasn't able to overclock it to what I think I could have done if I would have had a different case. And that's one reason I really like this, because I do finally have front intakes. And the only issue that I found with this is that I was a little restricted in mounting my hard drives and SSDs, because I put that Corsair H100 there in the front. I take both hard drive bays out. So one of my SSDs is actually just on the back. I just have it, you know, the Velcro tape that you just put on. I just have it in the back, strapped on. My boot drive is actually laying down here at the bottom, which I'll probably just get some tape to mount that down. The Velcro tape. I ran out, otherwise I've already done it, but you can't even see it. So it's really not gonna, you can see it right there. Through the window, you can't even see it, so it's not really gonna make a difference on that. But overall, I'm really happy with this, especially for $80. You can get this case right now at NCIX. It is only in the white edition, but you can get it for $80, and that's a pretty good price for a case like this. I have no gripe with the build quality or just overall generalness of this case. As time progresses, I always try to do a long-term review of things. It might be an issue with the dust. It does have side vents here that don't really have any filters on them, so there might be a dust issue, but I'm hoping not once I get down the line. Again, I'm sorry this is a long video. I haven't even uploaded and threw it out there yet, but I know it's going to be pretty long because it took a couple hours to move everything over in between, you know, taking a few little breaks here and there. If you guys want to see more videos like this, just general kind of computer blog type videos, definitely let me know and I will get some more up there for you. I don't have any more builds or anything along that lines coming up, but I have a few for my benchmarking. I could do this on a benchmark instead of just, you know, editing it all up at the end and just showing you the final results. That's it. I'm about to sign off. I have a bunch of unboxings to edit and get up, so definitely wait and check those out. Stay tuned to the feed. Hopefully I'll get them up. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm hoping to get them all edited and get them all at least pending uploaded and start getting them out to you guys. Hope you guys are having a great day and a good evening. It's pretty late here. Well, it's not pretty late, but it's getting later now. I will see you guys next time, and thanks for watching J Wolf Tech Broadcast.